was a hypo, and I'm like, welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I am Jared. I am here with Robert. What's up, brother?
Not much. Yourself?
Not that much. So, Robert, you want to introduce to the audience what our movie is for this week?
Batman: Return of the Caped Crusader. Basically a movie set within the world. It was the reprising cast of the Batman 66 show. With, at the very least, the ones that were still around, which were, of course, at that time, Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar. And
which this movie basically feels like you're watching a longer version of the episode. Like, wow.
Exactly. And I love it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It really is. It really is fun. It feels like a follow-up. It does feel like a follow-up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the thing about it that I think works in its favor is it captures the campiness of the show, so there is that. Mm-hmm. And it really, like, because so basically what this movie is, when you think about it, this is like Batman turns evil, but not like Injustice evil.
This was clearly meant to take the can I say the word?
Yeah, go ahead.
Take the piss out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's kind of so Catwoman basically gives Batman a potion that goes slower than expected. But what's kind of funny about it is so when he turns evil, air quotes, he basically becomes Dark Knight Returns Batman. Like he goes, Riddler, this is an operating table, and I'm the surgeon. To hear Adam West say Dark Knight Return lines, it's something that I didn't know I needed.
I know, right? I know. Hearing him say that was just really good. And okay, let's first get the elephant out of the room. Julie Newmar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn. This is such a divide, wouldn't you say? It's like,
yeah, because you can kind of hear her age in that. Hey, what's up, Cameron? You can kind of hear her age in this, and I'm like, it's not necessarily like it. I mean, it's fine. She did a good job, but still, it's like it's kind of distracting.
And you're like, should they have used the sound alike or not? And I'm positive that Adam and Burt would have objected. I think that's the one thing. I think they know that those two would have objected.
Yeah, so I'm like, I get what you're going for. And by Randy says, at this point, I am tired of seeing dark, gritty, realistic Batman. It was refreshing to see a lighthearted.
That's why they made it. That's part of the reason why they made it. And it was the 50th anniversary. But I think part of the other reason was because look at what came out the year. That was the year of BVS. That was the year of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so it's like, let's release that as well. Which it worked for it.
Yeah, because it was a case of like, let's release something that's going against the norm.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What you could do is you could that's what they would be an interesting experiment for them to do, is that when they do dark, if they ever like do a different universe or like they decide to go dark, just release animated projects of their more happy tone characters, and then that way you're getting both of the same tone, so it doesn't seem like DC all of a sudden went dark, even though DC's always been dark.
Yep, I love how they kept the Dutch angles for the villains, because you know what the joke is, right? Why they always had the villains at Dutch angles?
What?
Because they're always crooked.
That works.
That's the reason why, because the villains were always crooked. But yeah, they take the idea of a Batman always being prepared to. This is what cemented it. Have you noticed? Any other time now you've had a regular Batman meet the Adam West Batman, they always say he's the most prepared Batman out of all.
Yeah, exactly. He has like a bazooka, he literally, so Robin gives him the bat antidote, but Batman has a bat anti-antidote. I'm like, wait a minute here.
If there was anywhere else you would call ball crap. But the fact is,
what is this Batman? Because here's what you have to say about this Batman. He basically has the power of the plot device, meaning anything he needs to advance the plot, he'll just slap the word bat on it and he has it.
But it works here. This is the one Batman you can look at it and not say BS.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
This is a Batman you could see fall from orbit and survive, and no one will bat an eye.
This is the Chip Zdarsky Batman, if ever I saw one.
And Chip Zdarsky is the one who had Batman call him the most prepared Batman. Why? Because he gave him his utility belt. And then what helped save the day at the end? The anti-shark repellent. I just love, but R.I.P. to the best. I've met the man. Shook his hand even.
Yeah, he was a cool dude.
He was.
But so I like how the first. It's okay. This is the level of preparedness. So Batman fires Alfred in this, but they have a pre-existing deal that if Batman ever fires Alfred, it's because he's been mind controlled.
Now, there's one little bit here that would never have happened in the original one. The setup of how close Batman and Alfred were. That didn't come out till year 1.
Really?
So that's something they're more retroactively just putting into it.
Okay, I see.
I can still see that bit about firing him. Also, I did love how they hint off about the other Catwomen.
Yeah, I like that. This movie basically implies that like all the powers and stuff is because of like all the drugs that Batman has been exposed to because of his supervillains, and I'm like, that's actually an interesting explanation.
And then you have them ready to cook him in a giant
TV dinner.
And what did he use? The lemon meringue, whatever, because apparently because lemon is acidic. So of course, and that's the type of science that only works in the 66. Because you know that wouldn't really work.
Wait, yeah. I'm like, imagine how much like preparation went into that plan. They actually had to cook a ginormous TV dinner before Batman arrived, and then Batman just escapes.
Yep. Also, like I say, kudos to the voice cast for the replacements. I mean, Wally Wingate from Arkham, he already said he was channeling I just blanked on the actor name Frank Gorshin, and he kept it up. I also love the like, you left a clue. No, I resisted. I love that because for this version of, and here's what you gotta remember: if you actually look at the show, Riddler is the more insane one compared to Joker.
Yeah,
and I like that they kept that here. They still kept
I also liked they also brought back the 1966 version of Mr. Freeze, i.e., before we got Heart of Ice.
Well, to be fair, Heart of Ice is becoming more and it's becoming less the standard because you have more people realizing, one, that writes us into a corner, and 2, we can't top it.
No, but what I mean is that it was before you got that origin. I mean, let's play the 66 Mr. Freeze was back when it was a very hokey dude,
or Mr. Zero or whatever. But yeah.
Do you guys like Damian Wayne as Julian?
Yeah.
At first, no, because
no one did.
It was written by Grant Morrison. No, when other writers came on, yes.
Then Batman and Robin made Damian tolerable, which I think that might have been the point.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, there you go. That kind of works. Well, it wasn't just Batman and Robin. I think more people got on board when Dick Grayson took over as Batman.
Right, but anyway, we have Batman has gone evil, and he starts to clone himself. And what does he do? He starts to replace everyone in a higher position with backload. It's starting with Gordon O'Hara, where he calls them out as being the incompetent buffoons that they always have been.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I never cared for Gordon in this version. Never had.
I also love, so this is Batman's Clone Saga, and I love where he's like, I always wanted all the attention, so I figured what would be the best attention but on TV?
Seriously, evil Batman is the villain to end all villains in this universe. Let's be honest.
Yeah, because it's like, what are you gonna do? My favorite scene is when Robin fights him, and they get into a duel with their utility belts. It's like Batman has like fire bombs, and Robin has ice bombs.
Yep, I love it. Also, they're about to utilize something we've always heard about, we never saw, but we never utilized, which was the thermonuclear power source. That's being used to drop Batman, Robin, and Catwoman. It's like, of course. You can so tell this was written by fans.
The other thing, so when they get into the rocket ship, my immediate thought is like, no one's gonna notice a giant rocket taking off from near Wayne Manor.
Why would they?
Barry Cameron says, this is how you end an old universe, in my opinion. Stick to the original premise that made it work while homaging what made it loved in the first place. Yeah, exactly.
But we do get one more movie, which we'll get to next time it's my turn.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a bit of an unpopular opinion of mine, but I think Joker is a bit of overrated and overused. Overused, yes. Overrated, not necessarily.
But he was well handled. They kept it between him, Riddler, and Penguin.
Which in this work, I also liked again how like Catwoman eventually turned over to Batman's side, which you kind of expect that.
Well, kind of, sort of. That was always something that went back and forth in the show. Never happened in the movie. In the movie, she stayed evil the whole time. But for here, it worked.
I also love in the TV show, by the way, going to the TV show, where all the henchmen just wore a T-shirt that says "Henchman" on it.
Yep, Henchman. I know.
Like, oh, there you go. That's great. I love that.
And you know what? There was a Batman Forever reference.
There was?
When Mr. Freeze Shearman, he does the heat thing, that's basically similar to when he used himself to protect him from the heat. It's like the reversal of what he used to protect himself from the heat when Two-Face was going to explode him.
Okay, I see.
You know, like, doink, hits the button in his cape.
Yeah. The other thing that I really thought was funny that actually made me laugh is the amount of alliterations in this movie, particularly by the villains. So I'm like, yeah, this is very
Cameron,
much like
yes.
this.
Ashley Cameron, yes. The Lego version where she acts more like a cat.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah, exactly.
And other versions, and even Batman Animated Series, she was in Arkham.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, yeah,
that made no sense. That made no sense whatsoever.
It's never made sense. And by the way, it's implied that even in Justice, Catwoman was in Arkham, but Bruce like kept her out of it.
I mean, here's what I feel: the villains people like Freeze deserve to be in Arkham, not because he's insane, but it's the only place that can handle him.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Croc, but in the case of Catwoman and Penguin, no.
Well, but here's the thing with Catwoman. It's not like she's been a villain or like really that much of a criminal in lately.
Lately, no. Pre-crisis, yes.
Yeah, pre-crisis, yes.
Too. Mm-hmm. But would you agree with what I just said, though? Catwoman and Penguin do not deserve Arkham.
No, because they're like...
Penguin is not... And Penguin, yeah, he's just a person. It's not like you need it to hold him. Like, unlike Croc and Freeze, again, Croc, Freeze... Clayface needs his help. Clayface needs the help. Joker, that's, let's be honest, you really want to put him in regular criminals?
I would rather just give him the death penalty, but we know DC's never going to do that.
Dude, you need to read Joker's Devil's Advocate.
I'll check that out. Cameron says, but Penguin usually goes to Blackgate.
Well, lately, but not originally. Actually, no, to be fair, for the longest time, Arkham was a sanitarium.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that? Even if you look back to Death in the Family, it wasn't the gothic place. It was just a simple, ordinary sanitarium.
Yeah, but it's like
it didn't become that way until Arkham Asylum by Morrison.
Yeah, but the problem I have with like Arkham is the reason why I think they need to stop. Batman needs to upgrade the security in that because they
always
do escape. But I'm like,
how many times do they upgrade it? Constantly. They did that after Battle for the Cowl. They did that with Arkham Tower. No matter what, someone finds a way.
Nature finds a way.
Always finds a way.
Yeah, I loved in the Suicide Squad prequel comic, the one for the game, where it's like Amanda Waller takes over, and I'm like, well, at least they explained why like all the villains that would normally be in like Blackgate or Metropolis are in like Arkham.
Right. But again, just throughout all of this, I would say this: if it wasn't for Batman versus Two-Face, this would have been this would still felt like a great send-off. I'm not saying that versus Two-Face wasn't as well, but I'm saying if you had to pick it to just one movie, this would have been the best send-off.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. It's like, and going back to Cameron's comment, you definitely can take this as like a conclusion if you don't watch that. Because again, like Cameron said, this is how you conclude it. Just have it be like this. and like hint that like they're still active being like superheroes, but we don't ever see it. There you go.
Now, I will say this though, that Batman versus Two-Face is a harder one to say because it's great, but it doesn't feel like a final movie. It feels like the next adventure, and that they could have done more if Adam hadn't passed away. You get what I'm saying? Whereas this one felt like a celebration and a possible finale.
Yeah, they would have, I think, done more if Adam West hadn't passed away.
Because you and I were done this before we started. His death was so close to release that they were able to barely slip in a dedication at the end of the movie, but they couldn't redo the whole box, so they just had to slap stickers on it.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, he died like a couple of months before the sequel was
released. A couple of weeks, I think.
It was on June 9th, and the movie, June 9th, and then it released. Okay, I'm going to see what month it released. So June 9th.
And we got to look at the physical release, not the digital release.
It was released in October 10th.
Okay, so it was a couple months. Never mind. But still.
Yeah.
But still, though, I mean, I could see why they still slapped it on. But still. And wait till we get to that when we get to it, because you wait till you hear Shatner. Because seriously, this was only the second time in their whole career that Shatner and West did something. The last time he did was back during black and white films and was a brief couple of seconds. But Adam, again, he was having a ball.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that.
And Burt. I'm so impressed at how young Burt sounds.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Again, we kind of alluded to this earlier. This Batman as a villain is very terrifying.
When he wants to be, yes.
When he wants to be, yeah, exactly. Because it's like, this is the prepared Batman.
Hey, Zdarsky we said that earlier. Zdarsky made that clear. And I would say, this reminds me, did you ever see that? I forgot that YouTube channel, but they decided to take the Batman trailer, the Corridor Crew, and replace it with Adam West.
I saw that.
Like, I have come to kill you all.
Yeah,
I'm like, ooh.
That is really scary. But Julian says, I feel for they could have used another one of Batman's rogues and villains because they were actually sympathetic and make a movie about that. Instead, they used the Joker. Someone just
wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You talking about here? Thoughts on the Joker movie? And we missed that earlier.
Oh, okay. Also, thoughts on the Joker movie. Joker movie one was pretty good. The second one was utter garbage.
I still say, I hope he was grateful for torpedoing his career, because I'm sorry, that director, he's not going to get another movie like this again.
And you know what's hilarious? Remember, he was in the running to take over DC Studios.
Thank God we did.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather have James Gunn.
Seriously. And now, James Gunn, he tried to do something to help by giving notes, but he couldn't do anything else. This guy was given an auteur license.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I really...
You do know that, right? There was nothing James could have done, because the auteur license gives you carte blanche.
Luckily, it wasn't. That's the one movie that he was like, yeah, it's definitely not in my universe. I was like, yeah.
I think that should have been I think that should have made it very clear there was something wrong. Wouldn't you say? The fact that was the only movie he didn't try to make any, even say anything about.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like,
I think he knew. I think James knew. Like, oh, crap.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing with this? It's just it's like I get that you have Gaga, but you don't want every 5 minutes is a music just for the sake of it being filler.
And then that ending was so mean-spirited.
Yeah, where he's not the Joker. He gets stabbed and killed by the Joker, while while Lee is pregnant, and I'm like,
no, I don't believe her. I think that she was just BSing him. I really think she was BSing him.
Yeah, exactly. And so I explained to Nick the story of Joker. I read through the Wikipedia, and he told me this movie is an onion of bad ideas. Those kids keep peeling back the layers.
Yep, but I could say there are plenty of villains. Like, imagine a Two-Face villain. Okay. I want to focus back on this movie. Let's focus on this movie. Let's not go over Joker. We're not here to talk about Joker. But again, the fact is that I would have, obviously you can never, it can only be done animated. There was no way in hell Adam and Burt could have pulled it off. They barely pulled it off when they came back for that variety show thing.
Yeah, I'll give you that, because it was like, and with animation it does allow you can do you could do a giant food tray and all that stuff, and it looked mildly good. I also felt like the animation was pretty good. It didn't feel cheap or anything like that. It felt like it fit. I also like how they recreate the original Batman 66 intro purely in animation. I'm like, there you go, that's good.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I just looked up. Remember the Legends of the Superhero stuff? This had Adam and Burt. And there's that whole bit where he's doing charades. And I just love how he's like, tote. Like, the Batmobile's in a tote bag? No, okay. But the Batmobile's been totaled. The Batmobile's been totaled.
Yeah.
And he's like, nope. And he's like, nope.
Oh, is that the one where they're like hosting a really bad TV show?
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Oh.
Yep, and I love it. It's like, when I get you back to the cave, the things I'm going to do to you.
Yeah, the Batman threatens his ward. Yeah, nice. I also love, by the way, how Alfred in this movie points out to the other person that lives in Wayne Manor. He's like, you really don't.
Oh, that was Aunt Harriet. Aunt
Harriet. He goes, Aunt Harriet, you really don't know. You really don't know yet their secret, because like they're constantly disappearing. They're like, oh, we gotta go shoot clay pigeons at this.
And you can so tell she thinks they're gay.
Yeah,
that's clearly
what she's worth them then.
Yeah, that's clearly what. Well, no, funny enough, she was introduced to avoid Wortham.
Yeah.
Only with Batman going into space. No, I can see Batman going to space with the Justice League.
Yeah, but just Batman and Robin, like with a bat rocket ship.
Oh yeah. But
it's kind of funny. They did this in the Lego game.
Yep. The Lego game is perfectly at parallel, and Adam West's level pack was involved with it.
Yeah, and I think when you punch, you see like power and stuff.
And they got Adam to do his voice again there.
Hey, that definitely works. And I believe that like the character you have to save as like a side quest is Adam West in every level. It's like Adam West in distress.
Yep, and Julian, just to answer, I think they don't know what's Penguin in other media, to be honest. I don't think we need another movie to retell the same story.
No, and plus the movie, the show was not exactly Penguin.
No, not just that. I'm just saying, but you're at Gotham. You look at other things. They've done enough with Penguin.
I would love a Catwoman movie.
Which one?
No, a Selena Kyle movie.
No, I know, but what type? Would you want her to be a hero, villain, anti-hero?
Anti-hero.
Yeah. So long as it's nothing like the Halle Berry one.
No! Oh, you mean the one where she gets powers by a cat breathing magic on her?
Technically, that fits within the realm of the Burtonverse when you really think about it.
But it wasn't a Burtonverse movie!
I no. They show a bit where she's looking at other people getting cat powers, and you see Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, yeah.
That made it clear. So that was their way to get around it, and saying that Selena doesn't exist in this world, but there are other cat women.
I'll tell you another Brit story. So when she and I, once during one of our episodes, she drops, "Oh yeah, I think that movie's underrated."
Which I think if you took
that was my reaction, Robert, right there. I was like, "Did you say what I think you just said?"
If you don't look at it as an actual Catwoman movie, as in it's part of the DC universe, no. Can't even do that. I can't even do that. I can't even do that.
I'm like,
I tried.
As a movie.
I tried. Did you see that pause? Even I'm like, no.
She eats tuna like a cat.
Now, well, the only thing I will give is I give props for Halle having a blast trying to speak, and all with this. You could tell she is having fun.
I also loved her Razzie acceptance speech. Like, thank you for casting me in this crappy movie.
She knew it. And hey, you know what I would love to see? I'd love to see her and Michelle Pfeiffer do a whip off.
Oh,
because
yeah,
Michelle is still good with a whip,
She still has her whip.
She still retains all of her skills from training for the movie.
Yeah. Also, Cameron has a good point. Maybe we should stop with the supervillain movies.
I say that though. Warner Brothers is much better at doing it than Sony is.
Oh yeah, like arguably the only good villain movies are Venom and Kraven. That's it.
Yep.
The other ones sucked.
Ugh.
Wait, does Madam Web count as a villain movie?
No. Only but you had Ezekiel.
But it's not a movie focused on Ezekiel, though.
That's true. But he's the villain. They made him a villain. When he's not supposed to be a villain. I keep on saying this. That should have been what's his name? More something. Oh geez, hold on. Spider-Verse villain. What's his name? Not the movie, the comic. The Inheritors, which include Moreland. Moreland should have been the villain.
It should have been Moreland. Yeah, exactly.
It should have been Moreland because he acted like Moreland. Why did it have to be Ezekiel? I don't get it.
Because again, these people didn't care about the movie. Remember, they left in a boom mic.
Oh God, you're right.
Yeah, I'm like, Robert, you're assuming that who was making these movies actually cared.
They cared for Venom.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. Again, the thing about villain movies, you have to pick the right villain because Venom's the one you can do that with because Venom's that popular.
Morbius you could have, but not the way they did it.
No. But anyway, back to this.
Back to this. Yeah.
Again, see, here's the thing. This movie did a great job of like doing the like wacky and zany parts of the show, but doing it in a way where it didn't look like it was making fun of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But it's embracing the corny. But I would say though, the ending goes on long.
Yeah, but can I say I also love how to survive the atomic pile, Robin sprays them in an anti-isotope spray.
Yep.
They always have every spray. Question: if Adam West hadn't passed away, who do you think the next villain would have been?
Well, actually, they were setting it up. Harley and Hugo Strange, because they were in the second movie.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. We'll revisit that question when we cover that in the next one.
Yeah, but I would say, but seriously, though, Two-Face was great in the next one when we get to that. But yeah, again, here, for what this was, like I said, this felt like a 50th anniversary movie, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. I'll give you that, yeah.
Because it was for the 50th. And you're like, again, that's the reason why it felt like a celebration. And it felt like it's, and then I gotta say, the animation was both cheap and yet well done.
Like the show.
Yeah. I mean, would you agree with that? It felt cheap, but they also went all out. It's like, it's a contradiction, I know.
Here's the thing. It's like, this is the one version of Batman where you could do cheap because the show itself was cheap.
Yep. Oh, dude, I gotta show you this. Actually, no, I can't load it up. But did you notice when they went to space, the helmet had bat ears?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, where the heck did he get? Did he just tack them on?
Well, he time traveled and got a Fortnite helmet. I'm just saying, bro. Just saying.
I also gotta say, the whole Batman becoming evil, it was like an accident that he became evil.
Yeah, I know. And again, by the way, again, I think it's kind of cool how we had two Batman do like an evil version of their characters, being Adam West and Kevin Conroy, and they both did really well with it.
Yep. Although I accepted it more here than I did for Kevin, unfortunately.
I'm not necessarily just talking about the CW one. I'm talking about also Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, and that time you could tell he was having a blast.
Yeah, he even said he loved playing an evil version of Batman.
But you also knew, it's obvious, he did it because he knew it wasn't the real Batman.
Yeah, because he knew beforehand that it was a clone.
Try telling people that, though. Try telling the usual haters that.
It's like they literally. It's like again.
He had to have known if he recorded everything. He had to have known.
Yeah, and the thing that I always hated about the discourse about that game is that the game literally tells you that
the clues are there. Why?
Like when you kill Green Lantern and the Green Lantern chopper is still there, there's idle dialogue where they say, if we killed Green Lantern, why are the choppers still green?
Not only that, though, but then you also have the fact that Shark was able to use the ring when it should have flown off. You also
just fell off.
And the biggest one. And the biggest, Flash's finger. The biggest one. You see,
not necessarily kryptonite.
That too. But no, I'm saying the Flash one was the biggest one because they cut this finger off. But when you see them,
yeah, exactly.
All the fingers.
Yeah, so I'm like, and then
now the only thing though that bothers me, they killed off Tim.
Nope, no body.
But a bloody mask, that's the clear indication.
No, Batman bloodied Flash. It doesn't mean he's dead.
True. Okay, that might
According to Rocksteady, he's not dead.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Rocksteady confirmed that like he was taken captive on the ship.
The Robin was? All right.
Yeah, because the next season, what I think they said would have been us working with Oracle to free everyone else.
Now, I got to say, though, I really just do not like when after the final season, now they rushed it all, which means we're not going to hear any of that Kevin dialogue. That really bothers me.
They should at least release that on YouTube or something.
They should have, but I'll say, I don't like when people say, oh, they clearly retconned everything. It's like, you are idiots. People have been telling you this constantly.
Comic story, and literally after he played the game when it first came out, said he thought they were clones because even Brainiac says you killed my Justice League.
Yes. Now, Grant, Wonder Woman did die. Wonder Woman did die.
Yeah, but there's if in the event that they did a game that takes place after this, there's a number of ways they could bring her back. It's the Clay origin, or Zeus, but Clay, but also
right. But anyway. Again, we keep going over. But
I love the way he clones himself. He just takes the replicator ray and just holds it against his chest, and then the clones have like sentience and all that stuff. So it's ridiculous enough that this is one of those occasions where you can go like really ridiculous and it works.
Now here's the thing, though. Could they have pulled this off in the '60s? I don't think so.
No.
Not the duplicating part, anyway.
No, because they didn't really have that. They could have tried it, but it wouldn't have looked good.
That would have been too expensive. That would have been way too expensive.
Which I guess this should give us even more reason to be glad that we got it that we had animation now.
Even though, again, it's just one of those brilliant ideas of him making an army of himself. And then again, Gordon, I'm replacing. Just take off your clothes, and the other Batman puts the clothes on. Goes to the mayor. He takes off. We have Mayor Batman.
Yeah, I love that. And then we have talk show host Batman, and then blank Batman, and then blank Batman. There's so many different Batmen.
Yep. Again, bring up all of his villains to take out Batman. The switcheroo of it all.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where when I'm watching this, I'm like, okay. It's like, this is the movie where when Batman says, when the counter comes, everyone's like, "Oh, you're in trouble now."
Yep, and then you also have Egghead.
Yeah, there you go.
You could definitely tell which characters they could get the rights to and which ones they couldn't. You could definitely tell.
Yeah, and they made it work either way. So I'm like, it was never like, oh my gosh, it's like, can you believe that they couldn't get this character and this character? No, it was fine. I enjoyed it.
I know. And then again, you have the fact that King Tut could take out at least 3 Batmen when this guy was just a normal guy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the 1966 universe where that's believable.
Right. By the way, you know what character they had? They wanted to use King Tut, but they couldn't get the rights to him. So you know what character was created in the comics to replace him?
Which one?
Maxie Zeus. When you look back at Maxie Zeus, he's King Tut.
Main continuity, Maxie?
Think about it. He keeps thinking he's a god when he's just crazy. What did King Tut do? Think he was King Tut when he's just crazy.
I'm surprised, by the way, Maxie Zeus has never like encountered Wonder Woman.
Yeah, really?
And she'd
Because
be like, "You're not Zeus."
I am so Zeus, and I just can't do.
The real Zeus shows up and goes, "No, you're not."
Like,
Yeah, exactly. He's
yeah.
like, "No, you're the imposter." And then
I think
and then
because
Zeus
we
is
know.
just
I
like,
think no one's done it because it's a. I gotta be honest, it'd be boring. That's something you do for a short story.
yeah, it's and Jim brings up an interesting point, but
It'll be a one-off. It'll be a one-off.
It'd be hilarious if King brought Maxie Zeus as like an underling of the Sovereign, and Sovereign's like, "I will restore you to full power, God Zeus."
Nah, because technically Kevin Smith already resolved that. The last time we saw him was actually in Kevin Smith's stuff, and he's actually been trying to keep himself sane.
Again, this is Tom King we're talking about.
I know, but I don't think he would want to go there. One, do you think he's even aware of Maxie Zeus?
Well, I'm just saying, because remember, this is the guy that mischaracterized Capitalis.
True, that's true.
But anyway, it's not a Tom King discussion.
No. But again, but like I said though, so much of this is just.
But
again,
it's like again, my favorite part is where Alfred goes, "Master Bruce and I had a plan that if he ever fired me, it would be because he was mind controlled."
Yep, but like I said though, that's them. That only works in a modern sense.
Yeah. Which I'm like, okay, that kind of works. You can kind of modify stuff like that.
Right. But I just still, again, and like I said, the other actors were, again, I actually felt that was, I know that couldn't be Burgess Meredith, but the Penguin still felt like Penguin. Joker still felt like Cesar Romero Joker.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I didn't know until you told me that these were not the original actors because they did such a good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Wally Ringwood, he was already doing Frank Gorshin for Arkham, so so it definitely he was fitting.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like the other actors too. They did a fantastic job of recreating like the voice because again, I didn't know.
Well, yeah, those actors have been long gone. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's like I'm like, oh wow, you literally nailed it.
Yeah, they literally did nail it, and again, just so good. Like I said, the ending, the battle on the blimp, was that needed?
No.
It felt like, how do you top evil Batman? You really can't. It felt like they just tacked that on so that Batman could actually get a proper final fight in.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. What's your favorite part of this movie?
Just Batman taking over all of Gotham.
Yeah, and you see like an army of Batman just policing the streets.
Yeah, that had to be it because when I first watched it, I was just like,
yeah, exactly. Again, my favorite is the battle with Robin, where they're using their utility belt, and then they always conveniently have a counter for it.
Exactly, I love that too.
And then my second favorite part is the Bat anti-antidote spray.
Yep, and I think we can both agree. This is an operating table, and I'm the surgeon.
Yeah, that's number 3 because I'm like, again, it's like. That's what immediately when I was like, okay, that actually gave me chills because he actually did a great job as Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Doing that line, yeah. And again,
can you imagine Wes voiced the Dark Knight Returns Batman in that movie? I actually kind of can.
Yeah, I could to a point. Although I still say Michael Einstein is my preferred.
He did a good job as like an older Batman, so it's not like that's an issue.
I know that was him from the anime series version, whereas there was Peter Weller in the movie. And Peter Weller, what directions was he given? No offense or anything, but that movie still bothers me because you know what was lost in that movie was the losing the narration.
Yeah, you kind of need that because that's part of the good part of like Batman.
Yeah, losing the narration in Dark Knight Returns was a mistake.
Mutants, surrender or be destroyed. That's my favorite line from that book.
Rubber bullets. Honest.
I know.
I love that. They're like, rubber bullets. The pause. Honest.
Honest, really.
Yeah, but
But
yeah.
still,
So,
rubber bullets being fired at that velocity is still going to kill people. So they're not
yeah,
saving themselves.
yeah. But like I said, though, but overall, I give it a 10. This movie's a 10.
For what it is, yeah, this is a 10. Because yes, it has those ridiculous like contrived plot points, but here's
But
the
so did the
thing.
show.
That's the show. So it's like how they have
And
an anti-bat isotope spray. I'm like, yeah, that's the show. So
it's a
it
bit
gets
of a
pass.
stretch because you're like, that feels a little too hyper specific even for the show. But it's just, again, any complaints you can have aside from Newmar sounding old, well, you can counteract by saying that's the show.
Yeah, and Newmar sounding old, I was fine because it wasn't that distracting, so I don't take off points. So yeah, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Solid film and tribute to the 1966 show.
Yep, and like I said, next time it's my choice. We're going over versus Two-Face because you have to see that one. That is like, again, this was sound like a grand finale, but that one felt like let's take Batman to the next level.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the villains anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So for a little bit, let's do a brief Q&A and then we'll wrap up. So you guys can ask us any questions you would like about this, about Batman, about our favorite 66 episodes, anything you guys want to ask us.
Here's a question I want to ask you. Do you think the delays for the next Spider-Verse movie is going to hurt it?
Maybe because if they keep delaying it too far, people are going to forget about the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah, I mean, especially because, but I'll say that's the only thing people ever complained about the second one was the ending.
Yeah, the ending kind of, or in my mind, it's not really an error. It's not really a ding against the movie itself, but I'm sick of seeing the Spider-Man pointing meme. Like they always do it, and I'm like, I get it, it's the meme, but can you? I mean, you ended the last movie with it.
Wait, it's Carter. Wait, Reeves and Reeves? No, wait. Depends on which Reeves you mean, Chris or George.
Because Carter, yes.
Yes. Well, at least if you go by the comics, but yeah, George Reeves could have fit.
Yeah, I was about to say you could put George Reeves into this.
No one's done a continuation on that one, but really though. There's much to tell.
That's one you don't want to do because remember he hated being Superman.
I wouldn't. Okay, believe it or not, if you ever asked the actor who played Jimmy, I just forget his name. You know what he said? The only time he ever heard George complain was the fact that the only reason why he got the gig was because a good friend of him, an actor friend of his, died before they started, and he feels like that's the only reason why. It's because of the death of that friend. The only reason why he's wearing the monkey suit. So it's hard. It depends on who you ask.
I mean, according to the family, he didn't really like it.
That's true. Again, it depends on who you ask. But
yeah. Again, but yeah. I mean, if you could, you could bring that like in there.
What stories are there to tell? Really, he never really had much of a road gallery.
Here's the thing. Arguably, here's the thing. I don't think Linda Carter works in the 66 universe. I always thought she worked better with.
That was the problem with that crossover comic. That was the problem with that crossover comic.
Yeah. I'm like, she works better with Chris Reeves in his universe with Keaton than with.
Oh, and talk about. Okay, it's the reason why Batman being dark here worked because it was still goofy and fit the sensibility. When they did that comic in the Batman 66 meets Wonder Woman 77 and had it be, I killed Joker after he killed Alfred, everyone's like, no!
Wait. What did they do?
Okay, they basically jumped years ahead. So you actually have Burt Ward Robin is Nightwing and everything. Batman's older and he's retired. Why? Joker broke into the Batcave, killed Alfred, and then Batman killed him. And this is what to be the Adam West Batman.
Does the Adam West Batman maybe play loose with like force he uses? Yeah, but I don't think he would kill him.
Yeah, exactly. And then he retired after that. It's supposed to be a take on Dark Knight Return, but no one liked it because why? It doesn't fit.
Well, even on that, it's like I think that the writer was probably going off of the fact that like, well, this Batman uses a bazooka and everything like that, but I'm like, yeah, but he never killed someone.
Yeah, and this was the this was Mark and Draco, who I do like, but and look, Batman's here. Look at him, great haired and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be the Adam West one, and finally Dick went off to college. I worked with Batgirl for a while, but she had to devote more time to her ailing father. Some of my enemies grew harsher, more desperate, especially the Joker. But again, it's like Joker, 66 Joker would not do this.
Mm-hmm.
Killing was not in this Joker's repertoire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's an interesting character.
And here's the other thing: Joker and Alfred only died because of his bad heart, and he couldn't handle a home invasion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Joker directly killed him.
It's not like an injustice when Zsasz killed Alfred.
Yeah, so it's even more so like, wait, and yet Batman still killed Joker? What?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it doesn't make sense for this version.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I'm just like,
Now, I will say, I did like how that it deals with Batman and Wonder Woman meeting up at different points in Wonder Woman, still an adult, but when she first met Batman, he was young Bruce Wayne before his parents died. Then she met him at other points in his life, but you know who the recurring villain was?
Who?
Ra's al Ghul.
There's a 66 Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, although again, Draco, I like Draco, but here he played it up too straight.
Oh, you mean he didn't do like the joke part? He didn't try and like Adam West Batman Ra's al Ghul.
Mm-hmm. You know he did not. Although here though, you want to know what happened by Lazarus pit abuse? It didn't kill Ra's. It turned him into a kid. Now that fits 66.
Okay, yeah, that kind of works. Like it was de-aging him the whole time.
Well, no, it's basically one trip too many resulted in him becoming a kid.
It's like watch. That's how they de-age John. They just have someone like basically waterboard him with the Lazarus pit juice.
Yeah, I know.
They're like,
right?
Get back to being a kid.
But
that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
This version goes with the idea that young Bruce met Talia when they were kids.
Oh, that works.
Zatanna being surprised he had 10th place. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, with a writer that likes her.
Tamaki liked her clearly because that was in the top 10 too.
Do we know how Wonder Woman 20 performed? And No. We're not going to find out about that until May, because that was the monthly like sales that ranked it out to 82. So trust me, NJ, Britt and I are gonna be watching that with great interest, but we will let you know as soon as possible.
Right, but
all we know is that, let me put it this way, all we know is that Wonder Woman was not in the top 10 of like Bleeding Cool.
Well, obviously it wasn't going to be in the top 10.
Yeah, there's too many better books in there, and I'm like, oh yeah. Well, of course, but I do like how Zatanna's book is selling so well.
Well, again, people want Zatanna and the Tamaki book did so well.
It's like, honestly, I didn't expect this book to do as well as it did. I'm just kidding. That is the biggest surprise for me.
I gotta say, also, it's Campbell's artwork. I love how just so fan servicey it is without being fan servicey.
Yeah, because he can do that. And by the way, I'm gonna wait until it comes out in trade and pick it up because it's too far down the line for me to pick it up. But I definitely will check it out.
Yeah, I know. I think I told you before. What bit I do like is there's a point where she's flying around with someone else, and then she makes a comment about how snug the harness is, but it makes you wonder: is it snug because it's on too tight, or is it because of her rack? Because it's one of those up on the chest type of harnesses.
Yeah, that's true.
I just snicker there like, ooh.
I see what you're doing. Is she making the Power Girl complaint? Oh, Robert, how does it feel that the Power Girl is ending?
What took so long?
Yeah, I had to ask you that when that got announced because I'm like,
oh no!
What?
No! Please tell me I didn't read that right. Please tell me I didn't read this right.
What?
Hold on, let me double check. Oh no! Okay. Wait. No. Okay, sorry. I misread. It showed Alex Ross, Batman R.I.P., and I saw it said R.I.P. Alex Ross.
Oh yeah.
That freaked me out. That freaked me out. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, oh no. But okay, good.
But that freaked me out. That freaked me out.
Exactly.
But no, it was just an Alex Ross Batman R.I.P. image. It didn't load up, so the dialogue was there. I would have been like, oh God, no.
Yeah, but it is interesting. But so what were we talking about?
Like Power Girl being canceled again.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, dude?
Why did that last so long?
Yeah, because it wasn't selling well, right?
Yeah. Although apparently people were considering being canceled early, like it was stated in February, but I guess it just took a couple issues for it to catch up.
NJ says she loves I love Zatanna, but when she outsells the most popular and iconic female DC character and a training member. Well, no, it's just because again, it's like they put more like emphasis on Zatanna on that, and it's like
and again people she's not a kid that we get books often about.
And plus, here's the other thing: you have a writer that obviously likes the character.
Yep.
That helps. Trust me, NJ.
It does.
But don't worry, NJ. Every run, no matter how bad, ends eventually.
Yep. But yeah, Power Girl canceled. Thank God. No more Page.
Now, here's the question. Do you think they're going to undo the Page stuff?
Actually, the issue says Karen Starr's triumphantly return. But unfortunately, it's not Power Girl, so Ollie, there's something going on. So they ended on something like that.
Are they going to give her like a new name instead of Power Girl?
I haven't read the issue yet, and the issue doesn't come out till this week, so I don't know.
Probably, I mean, because girl.
I mean, this sounds like a jab that Leah Williams would do.
But it is kind of fun. It is really funny on that. Now, how much of the Leah Williams run is going to get ignored, do you think?
All of it. There wasn't that much to be added.
Oh, great. I'm happy about that.
I mean, the only thing that can be decided is the Page stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Comic Pop and Storian did a discussion on this like thing when they renamed her Page and gave her a whole cool costume. And they're like, this is the one time when they like qualified something as maybe like quote unquote woke, because it's like there's no reason to change any of this stuff. If you think the character's problematic, then don't use her.
Yeah. By the way, so apparently it's been let slip that Morrison's big return to the Big Two, it's DC, and I'm not surprised. Of course it was going to be DC.
I think he said it. I think they said it's a Batman.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised.
Yeah, they've always done their best work at DC, so there you go.
Yep, they definitely have. And yep. Oh, never mind. I saw them asking a bit about I'm being cool saying about there's going to be another Booster Gold whiteboard and all that, and I'm like, oh, are they doing another one of those? I love the chalkboard gags. How they slipped hints in there ever since 52. They would always slip in little teasers, very vague teasers.
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently there's going to be some of the statements are include what happened to the Absolute Universe in January 1944. What is the Temple of the Fourth World? Who really controls Lazarus? Black Stars. Jon Stewart knew the weakness. What is Dr. Fate's helmet doing in the DC universe? Despair. Oh, who or what is the White Martian? What is the complete psychopheric collapse? The beginning is the end. Omega. Omega was a star in the middle. But yeah, apparently this has been teased somewhere.
That kind of works.
I love when they do that. I love Jeff Johns set that up, and I just love that whenever they do that.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to leave it. So really great movie, and I'll get with Jay Heat to figure out his pick. So for Comics League tonight, Britt and I are going to be going live at 9 p.m. to discuss the misconceptions about New 52 Superman. Did you see the preview for? Yes, the pre-Absolute Wonder Woman and number 7 looks great. We'll talk about it tonight, as a matter of fact, on the show.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be live at 9 p.m. We'll talk about the new Superman. We're gonna talk about Tom King's Wonder Woman 20, Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman, which Britt labels daughter of Batman because she's only interacting with Batman characters, and Absolute Wonder Woman, and more. So be on the lookout for that. Robert, where can we find you and what have we got coming on your channel?
Link will be down below. I got some PTN still in the pipeline, and that's about all I could say.
Heck yeah. So stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. Steve Trevor, Steve Never. She belongs to General Zod. He belongs 6 feet in the ground. Zoe's the max bat for life. Stay heroic, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.